waiting for the airplane to pass. Hey there, Shrees here from Pieces Calligraphy. Welcome back to another day in my YouTober challenge where I am bringing you a new video every single day for the entire month of October. So 31 days of brush calligraphy. Today is day 13 and I wanted to do something kind of fun today. I'm going to show you how to do faux calligraphy. Faux calligraphy is basically making calligraphy without using a calligraphy tool. So you can also call it fake calligraphy, but faux just sounds so much more fancier. First, I'm going to show you what faux calligraphy is, how to create it, and then I'll give you a few tips on how you can improve your own. So for starters, understanding calligraphy and how you're supposed to apply pressure on the downstrokes and then not apply pressure or use very little pressure on the upstrokes. Having a good understanding of this thick down and thin up motion is super helpful, because what's going to happen when we do our faux calligraphy, I just have a regular pencil here, I have an eraser handy. What's going to happen is you're going to draw the lines that you need like this. See how I purposely space them out? Because you're going to apply a shade, or literally just draw it in wherever a downstroke would have happened. Okay, so let's compare that to not, if we were to just do a monoline, which is basically cursive, using one width of our stroke the entire time. I never lift up my pen because I don't worry about applying pressure. We wouldn't worry about putting those downstrokes, but because we want to have this thick shade here, it's important to lift the pen and create the strokes far enough from each other so that you can put an extra line and make that shade. Okay, so that's essentially what's happening here, except we have a brush pen that is flexible enough so when we press down and add pressure, it will just create that shade automatically, and then when we lift up, we can get that thin stroke. But when we have a tool like a pencil or another pen that doesn't bend, we have to do this faux calligraphy style where we're basically forcing the downstrokes by drawing them in. Okay, so let me do the other letters here. For the letter I, with regular cursive or making a monoline, you wouldn't lift your pen and you would just have the I, just like this. But in order to have that downstroke after that entrance stroke, you need to lift your pen literally over here and create the rest of that stroke and then add the shade. I purposely like to add the shade after because I get into this rhythm, and we can go over this in another video where I can go more in depth with this, but I like to do my downstroke after I've seen the sort of like the main part of the stroke, because if not, you're having to add that downstroke after, which isn't terrible, but it's just like a habit that I've picked up to put the downstroke in after. There are probably some exceptions, but for the most part, that's how I do my faux calligraphy. So for the letter B, instead of, you could just not lift your pen and create your letter B. You would lift your pencil or writing tool over here. Then I would create my strokes, and then I'm imagining that comma dot coming out here. So then when I go back and place the downstroke, this is where I would put pressure on that comma dot. It fills it in really nicely. It's really fun. It's kind of like a game, having to guess where to place it. Okay, so I thought of why it's important to draw that downstroke after and focus first on this point here. Depending on if you're lefty or righty, the area that your hand goes with your pen tip can either be on this part right here, this edge. See how my tip is there? Or if I'm a right-hander, my tip would be on this outside edge. See that? Okay, so right-handed person, your tip is here on that downstroke. For a left-handed person, your tip of your pen hits this inside part. Now, because of that, I'm a right-handed person, so I am going to focus on creating this stroke first And then I like to add where that downstroke would have been with the tip of my pen. It's just a personal preference, but I thought I would point that out because in case that's helpful for you, or you could use that to your own personal preference, then go for it. A common way that people do faux calligraphy is to actually create your letters with a monoline and then add in the strokes after, but I'm going to show you why I don't prefer this method. So you can go in afterward, right? So I added a thick stroke on the downstrokes, but the thing is I didn't make space for the shades. I sort of forced it. So you can take a really good eraser here and definitely go back in and erase some of the areas where that stroke crossed, and then you can touch that back up. You don't have to do this. I think it just makes it look a little bit cleaner. But now look what happens after I erased those marks. So it looks fine, but if I really pull this up close for you, look at what happens here to our space down below where that connection is happening. Sorry, waiting for it to focus there. Now I kind of lost out on this space down here, whereas if I created that Y, for example, and I brought my pen over, created this stroke here, and then brought my pen over again, and then brought that stroke down here. I'm going to lift because I'm anticipating that downstroke here. And then I bring my exit stroke there. If I put space for that area, okay, now, and even here too, see this little area, this groove here? Now I really have opened up that space. And it just makes it look like it can breathe a little bit more. Whereas here with the Y, I didn't really get that much space here. So that's why I don't recommend that method of creating your words in cursive or a monoline first and then adding that downstroke. Okay. So I thought it'd be really cool to use these jelly rolls that Sakura sent me. These are in white ink. They came in 3 sizes. So I'm going to use the largest one, the 10 here, just so my writing will really pop on this black paper that I have. So I'm going to write the word skeleton. It was a suggestion from one of your guys' comments. I'm not going to write out the whole thing. The suggestion was scary, spooky skeleton, but I don't want to make this video too long, so I thought I'd take the word skeleton. I thought that would be fun. Ascenders are my hardest to remember to give myself enough space to create that downstroke. And you'll notice as I write here, I start to get in a rhythm. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go back in and add a little bit of pressure there. A little bit of my downstroke here. Could probably make that transition a little bit smoother. What I love about doing this, about creating faux calligraphy, actually, is that it really emphasizes your knowledge of the downstrokes, because you really have to know and anticipate where that downstroke will be. So it's a really great way to just enforce that muscle memory and that skill. Skeleton. So this is after I Googled what a skeleton head looks like. Oh, and by the way, this is where the Friday the 13th came in handy, because with it being October, Friday the 13th, what better than to write out something spooky, right? And there you go, how to make faux calligraphy, or in other words, how to fake it till you make it, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in a comment below what you thought about it, if it's something new that you're going to try, or if there's a tip that you might want to share, because sharing is caring. And as always, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. You can expect them every single day for the rest of this month. And otherwise, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you tomorrow for day 14. Have a great rest of your day, night, evening, wherever you are. Bye. By the way, shout out to my sister for giving me this idea to write out Friday the 13th. Too bad mom brain in full effect over here, and I totally forgot and had already filmed my video before this. So here we go. Oh man, typo. Oh no, I did it again. Oh, I kind of forgot a nose, didn't I? Well, I'm gonna call it a ghost skeleton because it kind of looks like a ghost. I'm gonna have to Google some skeletons. I have no idea what it would look like. I remember drawing spider webs as a kid. Don't know if this is right to have the spider coming out down below. So I'm not the best at design, but maybe if I could do a couple of drafts, I could play around with different ways. I should have put that cobweb in the corner. We're probably gonna have to cut this section out and make it a blooper. Let's put that off to the side.